So guys, we are discussing about trust. What is trust? Why do we need trust between two domains? Guys, any idea? Yesterday's topic. Why do we need trust?
Yes, sir. Someone, we are allowing them access to our machines.
Very good. To allow the resources. Okay, let us say we have two domains here, two forests here, ms.com and ibm.com. Alhamdulillah. Excuse me, guys. So here we have two domains and we want this the users, let us say users of ms.com m1, m2, m3 use the resources like computers of ibm.com. So these users of ms.com, okay, they can't directly go and log on with their user accounts to the ibm machines. They should have the trust. These two forests should have the trust, then only this m1, m2, m3 can log on to the ibm computers. So we have seen different types of trust. So today we are going to see how to establish the forest trust. So we have two different forests, ms.com and ibm.com. The IP address of this ms.com is 10.0.0.1. Preferred DNS is 10.0.0.1 and alternate DNS is 10.0.0.50. This 50 IP address is the IP address of ibm.com. Then preferred DNS of ibm.com is 10.0.0.50 and ADNS is 10.0.0.1 and it is the IP address of ms.com. This is our scenario and we have already created this scenario yesterday. And trust will be created on one domain. So guys, what we are going to do, we'll configure the trust on ms.com. And to connect different networks, we use the router. So here in our lab, we are using the same network. ms.com is using 10.0.0.0 network and ibm.com is also using 10.0.0.0 network. But in real networks, IBM will have a different network, ms.com will have a different network. To make them communicate, we need a router in real network. So it is the responsibility of network engineer to make the communication between these two different networks. All you have to do is to take the IP address of IBM and you will add it here in alternate DNS. Then guys, what we will do, we will make the trust between these two different domains. So before making the trust, we will do some pre-trust verification. We'll do some verification, then we'll configure the trust. So we'll verify if there is any trust configured on both the servers or not. So how to verify? You will go to server manager. Okay, you will go to server manager, then you will go to tools. Under tools, you will go to Active Directory, domains and trusts. You will select this option. You will get this window. Okay, so you will right click, then you will go to properties. You will go to the properties of ms.com and ibm.com. So first we'll go to the properties of ms.com, right click on ms.com properties. You will get this window. Under this window, you will go to trusts. And guys, if you see, the default trust is, the automatic trust is mcsc.ms.com is there, mysql.com is there. This is the outgoing trust. Then incoming trust, it is having mcsc.ms.com and mysql.com. These are the trusts created automatically because they are the child domains of this ms.com, and we have discussed it is automatic trust, but it doesn't have any ibm.com. Okay, we need to create the trust manually. ibm.com is not, so no trust between ms.com and ibm.com. Then we'll go to ibm.com server properties. Again, you will go to server manager, tools, then Active Directory, domains and trust. You will go to ibm.com properties and you will go to trust. So there is no trust here in our lab. We didn't create any trust here. Okay, we didn't create any child domain of ibm.com. So there is no child domain, there is no ms.com here. Okay, so though no trust between ms.com and ibm.com. Let us verify it first. So we'll open our domain controller and guys will change the name to ms.com. Okay, to make it clear. Let us make it ms.com dc ms.com domain controller, and we'll open the client machine. Workstation 1, and this is the ms.com client. Let us change the name of this workstation as well. Let us add ms.com here. Then we have ibm.com. Then we have ibm.com client as well. MS client. It is ibm.com server and it is ibm.com client. We'll power on the devices. Okay, so meantime, we'll check the theory. Okay, so we'll do the verification and lab together. Then we need to create the trust. So trust is not there between IBM.com and MS.com. So we need to create the trust. How will you create the trust? These are the steps. Again, you will go to Server Manager. Then you will go to Tools. Under Tools, you will select Active Directory, Domains and Trusts. After that, you will right click. So let us say we are on ms.com domain. So you will right click on ms.com, then you will click Properties. Under this properties, you will go to Trust, and again, there is no trust, there is no IBM.com here, and we want to create the trust with IBM.com. So you will select this option, New Trust. Then you will get this window, you will click Next. Here, with which domain, with forest you want to create the trust, you need to provide the name here. So we want to create the trust with IBM.com. So we'll provide the name of the domain here, domain name, and we'll click Next. After that, you will get two options here, external trust and forest trust. So guys, we are going to create the forest trust here, not the external trust. So we will select this option, forest trust. So select the forest trust type, and you need to note one thing here. Sometimes due to connectivity issues, you will get RealM trust instead of forest trust. Here you will get the RealM trust instead of forest trust. So if you do not get the forest trust, which means there is a connectivity issue, you should check the IP address, preferred DNS, ADNS, if it is correct or not. If it is correct, then only you will get the forest trust. Otherwise, you will not get the forest trust. And power on the ADC if it is powered off. So you need to power on the ADC as well. Okay. Try to check if you are not getting the forest trust. Then you will click Next. After selecting the forest trust, you will click Next. And here you have three options: two-way, one-way incoming, one-way outgoing. So two-way means IBM users can use the resources of ms.com. ms.com users can use the resources of IBM.com. One-way incoming means ms.com users, if you select one-way incoming on ms.com, so they can, these users, let us say M1, M2, M3, these are the users, they can utilize they can use the resources of IBM.com. It is called as one-way incoming. The resources are coming from IBM.com. If you select one-way outgoing, so IBM users can use the resources of ms.com. Okay, we are sending our resources. There is a outgoing of our resources to IBM.com. So we'll select two-way option. Let us say ms.com has acquired IBM.com. Okay, so these two companies belongs to same organization. Okay, so you will select two-way here. So select the direction of the forest as per the requirement. So based on the requirement, you are going to select the direction, but in our case, we'll select two-way. Then you will get this option. This domain only, create the trust for the following, and you will get this option, this domain only, and both this domain and a specified domain. So guys, if you select this option, this domain only, so this option will create the trust in the local domain, which means ms.com is trusting IBM.com. Okay, only. But IBM.com doesn't trust ms.com. So from, if you want to create the trust from IBM to ms.com, so IBM.com administrator will create the trust from their side. If you select this option, ms.com is trusting ibm.com, ibm.com is not trusting ms.com. You need to contact IBM administrator and you should ask him to create the trust on their server as well. If you select this option, both this domain and specified domain, which means from this ms.com server, you can create the trust on your server and ibm.com server as well. But when you select this option, you need the administrator username and password of ibm.com. Okay, so let us say he is ready to give the username and password. You will select this option. He is not ready to give the username and password, so you have two options. You can ask him to come at your site and provide the type the username and password, or you will select this option only, this domain only. So this domain only means it will create the trust between ms.com and ibm.com, and you will contact ibm.com administrator to create the trust on their site. Okay, so the trust must also be created in the remote domain if you select this first option. So if you select the second option, both this domain and the specified domain, this option will create the trust in both the domains. It required the administrator credentials of remote domain, that is ibm.com. So you should have the administrator username and password of ibm.com when you select this second option. So we'll select second option. We have the username and password of ibm.com. Then guys, we need to provide the credentials of ibm.com administrator username and password. So you can see here administrator at that ibm.com password. We have given the same password mcsc 123 hash dollar. Then we'll click next. So just like 1 second, let us see what is happening here. Okay, let us power on this ibm.com as well. Now you will get this window. Select the scope of authentication for users from ibm.com forest. If you select this forest wide authentication, this option will allow the forest users to access the local forest resource. If you select this first option, it will allow ibm.com to access your resources. If you select this second option, so IBM users can log on to any domain in ms.com. If you select this first option. If you select the second option, selective authentication, this selective authentication option will not allow remote forest user to access the local forest resources automatically. IBM users need permission from ms.com administrator to log into any domain. So if you select this option, ibm.com needs the permission. If you select this option, they can access the resources without any permission. So we'll go with first option, forest wide authentication. Then select the scope of authentication for users from local forest, which means this option will allow the local forest user, which means ms.com users to access the ibm.com resources automatically. So which means ms.com users can log in to any domain of IBM. You can see local forest. If you select this option for local for ms.com, these ms.com users can access the resources of ibm.com automatically without any permission. If you select this option, selective authentication for local forest, this option will not allow the local forest user with ms.com users to access the remote forest users, which means ibm.com resources automatically. ms.com users need permission from ibm.com administrator to log into any domain. Then you will click next. Okay, after that, the trust selection complete. The new trust wizard is already created. So ready, so he is ready to create the trust. So you will click next. It is ready, right? Not created. Then the trust relationship was successfully created. Then you will click next. Then you need to confirm. Okay, confirm outgoing trust. Yes, we have selected the incoming and outgoing trust. After that, we need to confirm it again. So yes, confirm the outgoing trust. Then you need to confirm the incoming trust as well. Yes, confirm the incoming trust. After that, completing the new trust wizard, you will click finish. The trust is created between IBM.com and MS.com. And if you check, if you verify again, you will see IBM.com here. Okay. Outgoing trust, IBM.com. Trust type is forest and it is transitive. And incoming trust, IBM.com. Trust type is forest and it is transitive. Trust is created. If you go to IBM.com, okay, so you will get this MS.com here in outgoing trust for trust type forest and transitive. And for incoming trust, MS.com, forest type, oh, so trust type is forest and it is transitive. Trust is created. So now what we'll do, we'll go to IBM client. IBM client, and we will log on with S1 user, S1 at the rate ms.com. So it will allow you because the trust is there. Okay, guys, so let us do this lab. First, we'll do the verifications. We'll go to ms.com domain controller first and we'll verify whether the trust is there or not. Meantime, we'll log on to IBM server as well. We'll wait for a few seconds. We'll let the server to settle down. So guys, in this lab, we don't need ms.com client. We'll shut it down. Okay, let us verify if the trust is there or not. So we'll go to tools. Then we'll go to Active Directory domains and trusts. If you see here, if you go to ms.com, it is having the trust with mcsc.ms.com. Okay, you will see this mcsc.ms.com. You'll go to ms.com, right click, then you will go to properties. If you go to trust, the default trust is with mcc.ms.com and mysql.com. These are the domains, they are the part of the same forest, but it doesn't have the ibm.com here. If you go to the ibm.com domain controller, you'll go to tools, active directory, domains and trusts. Right click on ibm.com, properties, trusts. So it doesn't have any trust and we didn't create any subdomain here. So you're not finding any subdomain. We have created only ibm.com and it doesn't have any trust with any domain. Now what we will do, we'll go to ms.com. We are the administrator of ms.com. We'll create the trust. So how to create the trust? Okay, we'll do it from starting from scratch. You'll go to server manager, then you'll go to trust tools, then active directory, domains and trusts. Right click on ms.com, then properties. You will go to trust and you will select this option, new trust. We'll click next and we'll provide the domain name here, ibm.com. With ibm.com, we need to create the trust. We'll click next. So before that, okay guys, you can see here, we are getting realm trust with Windows domain. We are not getting the forest trust here. So we need to check the IP addresses. As we have discussed, if you do not see the forest trust, which means there is some issue with the IP address, alternate DNS, PDNS. So let us verify the DNS here, ncpa.cpl. Properties. And if you see, preferred DNS is 10.0.0.1, but it doesn't have any alternate DNS. So we need to provide the IP address of ibm.com here, 10.0.0.50. And we'll go to ibm.com client, server, and here also we'll verify. And here we need to provide the PDNS as 10.0.0.50 and ADNS 10.0.0.1. Now guys, we'll try one more time. We should get the forest trust. So we'll cancel it. Okay, we'll close this one as well. We'll open the server manager. Then we'll go to tools, active directory, domains and trusts. We'll go to MySQL, right click, properties, trust, new trust. We'll click next. Let us type ibm.com here. Now guys, if you see, we are getting external trust and forest trust. So we'll select forest trust, then we'll click next. So we need two-way trust, which means ms.com users can access the ibm.com resources. ibm.com users can access the ms.com resources. Okay, guys, what will happen if we select one-way incoming? Hello.
So only ms.com will have the access to access the machines of IBM. IBM will not have access.
Very good. If we select one-way outgoing,
IBM.com user can access ms.com, but ms.com user cannot access.
very good. So we'll select two-way. Then
Yeah.
we'll click next. And if you select this domain only option, what will happen? Okay, here, side of trust. If you select this domain only, what will happen? This is ms.com and this is ibm.com. And we are creating trust as at ms.com. If you select this option, this domain only, it will create the trust from
It will create the
ms.com.
trust only for ms.com.
Yeah,
It will not.
ms.com from IBM. Okay, and you will contact the ibm.com administrator and you will ask him to create the trust between IBM to ms.com. Let us say he is not ready to provide you the credential. So in this case, what you will do, you will create the trust from ms.com to ibm.com and you will contact ibm.com administrator to create the trust. He is ready to provide the credential or he is ready to come at your office, okay, at your site. Then you will select this option, both this domain and a specified domain. So if you select this option, it will create the trust. It will create the trust between ms.com and from ms.com to ibm.com, ibm.com to ms.com. It will create the trust in two ways, but you need the credentials, you need the username and password of administrator of ibm.com. So guys, we have the username and password. So we'll go with both this domain and a specified domain. Then here we need to provide the IBM administrator username and password, ADMINISTRATOR @ibm.com, and the password is MCSE123#. Let us say he is ready to come at your site or you know the password, then you will go with the second option. Then we'll click next. It is contacting the ibm.com to verify the username and forest wide authentication, which means IBM users. Okay, outgoing trust local level for forest here. So if you select this first option, forest wide authentication means ibm.com users, they can access the resources without any restriction. If you select this option, they need the permission from our administrator, from ms.com administrator. Let us click next. And this is for the local forest. If you select this first option, which means local forest user or ms.com users can access the resources of ibm.com without any restriction. If you select this option, ms.com users need the authentication from ibm.com administrator. So let us select the first option. Then we'll click next, 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 next. Yes, we need to confirm it here. Okay. Yes, confirm the outgoing trust. Yes, confirm the incoming trust. Then we'll click next, then finish. So let us verify whether the trust is created or not. We'll go to IBM, ms.com, right click, properties. So guys, if you observe here, in outgoing trust option, we have IBM.com. Trust type is forest and it is transitive. In incoming trust, we have IBM.com. Trust type is forest and transitive is yes, it is transitive. We'll go to IBM.com. We didn't do anything on IBM.com, but IBM.com will form the trust from IBM to MS.com because we had the credentials. We had provided the credentials. IBM administrator. Let us go to the server manager. We'll go to tools. Then we'll go to Active Directory domains and trusts. We'll go to IBM, right click, properties, trust. You can see it is having outgoing trust with ms.com and it is having incoming trust with ms.com. We didn't do anything on IBM.com. We had configured the trust from this ms.com domain. Now guys, what we will do, we will log on to this IBM client from ms.com user. So we'll take any user from ms.com. So let us log on with S1 on this IBM client. So you need to you can see it is the IBM client. You need to provide the complete name here with domain name. So S1 @ms.com. Then you will type the password 123. Okay, if you see here, it is allowing you to log on with ms.com username. So guys, we have logged in to IBM client using ms.com user. So this IBM client, it will contact with IBM.com. IBM.com is having the trust with ms.com. So it will contact ms.com and it will check whether this user is available or not. It is available and it will confirm and it will tell the IBM.com that the username and password is correct and it will allow S1 @ms.com user to access to this client. And if you can create the username and passwords in IBM.com and you can log on with ms.com client. Clear everyone? Any doubt?
No, sir.
So we are able to log on to this computer. Anyhow, if you see here, it is IBM.com and we have logged on with ms.com user.